welcome to the Gaming Pulpit. This is your boy JD. We got a lot to cover. So we're going to begin right now. The information was actually pulled from Reddit, a Reddit user. Maybe he was actually translating or reading what that whole hour video is, but let's get right into it. So let's talk about the lore details. So apparently civilians live underground in buried shelters or whole cities, and apparently above ground is too dangerous, which you'll get into that in just a second. There is something of some sort of connections. I guess these are the cables that you actually see. Connecting the Cairo networks allows for bridges not only to connect with the settlements, but somehow recover data about the history and life on Earth before the Death Stranding, which basically is, data points. About Sam. He has a ton of actual gauges. He has movement speed, fatigue, resistance, stamina, balance, carrying capacity, rugged terrain, resistance. So apparently all that drains your stamina. Resistance to falling, unconscious. I guess if you lose too much blood, which we'll get into as well, you have something to worry about there. Sync level for the BB. Lung capacity, I guess you can go underwater, and battery capacity, and that's most likely because of your exosuit. That's how he's able to jump and stuff like that in the trailers. You can find hot springs within the level that will recharge your stamina as well. Walking progressively destroys your boots, and it actually makes you lose stamina and lose blood. That kind of ties into losing consciousness. Drinking from the canteen allows you to recover stamina. So you actually refills when it rains, which Timefall actually refills it, which was crazy. That's really, really crazy. Or when you're crossing a river by filtering the water, so that's pretty cool. You can jump on one of those floating carriers that you saw, and you can use it as a hoverboard, which is pretty cool. Now, you have actual safe houses, and it's kind of reminiscent to Watch Dogs, to be honest with you, where you can actually print weapons and print ladders and print ropes and stuff like that, which is really, really cool. The game also has material, properties. Resin, metal, ceramic, chemical substance and stuff like that. Special alloys and stuff that comes from the Cairo dimension. The Cairo dimension stuff doesn't corrode your materials and stuff like that, which I'll get into in a second. Now, apparently you can take a shower and you can use a toilet, and this is actually refills your EX gauges. I'll get into that in a second because they're talking about semen and blood. Now, your cargo, once you have selected your delivery boxes and equipment, you need to load them all on Sam, which there's a weight limit, and it's actually controlled by your exosuit. Now, you can balance your character by using the R2 and L2, and obviously the heavier you are, the more balanced it is. And I would imagine if you fall, you damage the package, so you definitely don't want to fall. You definitely want to make sure you kind of modulate that. It just seems like you have to actually transport things to these underground cities. This is including cryogenic sperm and eggs, which is fucking crazy. I guess that's probably for your BBs, come to think about it. Real delivery guys. Okay, yeah, I was reading one of my notes here. So basically, you're underground there. You could find lost cargo in the world, and you can pick them up and deliver it. Doing so would get you a special reward. So Timefall actually progressively damages your cargo, so you definitely want to kind of encase them in that Cairo stuff. There's likes in this particular system here, and that will depend on your cargo and time and stuff like that. So I guess time attacks and stuff like that. Apparently when you cross the water, you'll see on a map how it's actually controlled. Now, the deeper the water is, the more the balance mechanism actually is in the game. So you definitely don't want to wash away in a river, because it'll take all your shit away as well. When you take a rest, it actually regenerates your blood, and it helps you to regenerate your stamina. When you in the trailers too, you'll see that you get grabbed by the BTs as well, so you can use R2 and L2 to shake them off as well. I'm trying to really go through this shit here. So the map is actually 3D, so you can check elevation and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. These guys, it's called mules. They're trying to steal your equipment and even take your shoes, because that's, everybody's delivery people apparently. There's also red poles that they won't chase you beyond a specific point as well. You can take non-lethal aspects as well. You can sneak up on a guy, what you see in this particular trailer. You can hijack vehicles, which is really, really cool. You can throw your cargo at enemies, but it will destroy them in exchange to stun them. You can actually stun BTs with sperm and blood and shit like that, which is fucking crazy. The multiplayer, I don't really want to talk about that as well, because apparently it's like Dark Souls. You can leave signs and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it. I wanted to give you guys all of this information just so you'll have it for you and you don't have to kind of look it up and stuff like that. So that's 6 minutes of my time. Guys, I really appreciate your support and stuff like that. So definitely send a like or a follow or a sub. And that's if you want to. I really don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. I get paid other means. I do care, but a little bit. But anyway, peace out, guys. Thank you for joining.
Genuinely a full trilogy of games to progress from. You can't crowd